What's up everybody, Ben the Blur here today, bringing you LEGO Transformers Ursidaeus. The name Ursidaeus comes from the family of polar bears known as Ursidae. The species of the polar bears is Ursus maritimus, so I just thought Ursidaeus seems pretty unique for a white polar bear, which is of course his alt mode. Ursidaeus here is the fourth member of the Beastial group of LEGO Transformers that I created, and he is the white coloured version of the group. We've had a Tyrannosaurus Rex, we've had a Black Panther, we've had a Raven, and now a polar bear. 4 beasts from different areas around planet Earth, one from the Arctic, one from the sky, one from the jungle, and one basically from, prehistoric era, just walking the lands of Earth. So, and I think that the diversity between those 4 characters sort of match up very well together. He looks very unique, he's very big and, chunky, as a polar bear should be. His torso, the main body of the polar bear, is quite small for a polar bear. It should extend a little bit further, but I like him the way he is anyway. He's got a little black stud here for his nose, and light green studs for his eyes. Underneath you can see his robot mode head, but that is mainly hidden from all directions except directly underneath him. But I still think he looks pretty cool. Yeah, there's not really that much else to say about him. His articulation, his head can rotate, tilt from side to side, and look up and slightly down because of the clip connected to a crossbar piece. His arms his polar bear front legs can rotate from side to side. They can also move up and down and swing outwards as well. His back legs can move, can tilt and rotate forward and backwards, and they've got a sort of in and out movement here. And he's sort of got like a waist, upper back movement here as well. So you can sort of get him to sort of stand up, I guess, as if he's gonna thump on you in his beast mode. But other than that, that's basically it. For a quick size comparison, here he is standing next to a LEGO minifigure, and I quite like this scale. He's obviously very large for a polar bear, and yeah, I imagine this is basically sort of what the size of most polar bears are like in real life, so I think the scale matches quite well. And here he is with his commanding officer, who is in robot mode, Tyrannicus. And I think these two look quite cool together. There's not that much else to say about him, so let's just get on to his transformation. To transform Ursidaeus, first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to come back here to the legs. We're going to pull these out, pull the whole waist assembly up, and straighten the legs out before taking these claw pieces with the bone sort of skeleton pieces, and we're going to detach this whole assembly by these 2 1x1 white cylinders and set those off to the side for now. Now we can work on the rest of him. So the legs will come out, and what they'll do is here they'll swing out, come along, and sort of fold down to become his robot mode legs. Do the same on the other side. Just like that. Now what we're going to do is we can work on the rest of the upper body. So let's bring the camera up slightly and work on this. We're going to take the neck of the polar bear, we're going to rotate this around, and then straighten these 1x2 tiles that the arms are connected to, so that, just like with the majority of the other Beastials, we can then flip around this whole assembly right after we swing out the side belly pieces of the polar bear, so then this whole segment can rotate around. Once that's done, we just flip forward the head, and then one thing I like to do as well is bring up the polar bear head, rotate it here, and then we can condense it into his backpack, and then these side panels of the belly of the polar bear we're going to bring down to sort of cover up slightly the polar bear head in robot mode. These also sort of become like, I guess, shoulder armor as well, and form a little bit of a backpack, so that's pretty unique. Next we can just work on the arms. We're going to pull this whole assembly out, rotate the 1x2 tile forwards to here, and rest it against the torso of the robot mode. And then at the clip we're going to rotate this around so it sits nice and flat. Bring this in, and then on this hinge brick bring the arm out and bring the arm slightly forward, and just do the exact same on the other side. Bring out the entire arm, bring that 1x2 tile forward, while it is here, we are also going to rotate the clip around so that this crossbar panel can fold forward, stretch the arms out, situate everything to your liking so you get something like this. Stand him up, and there he is in his robot mode. Ursidaeus' robot mode is pretty interesting, to say the least. He's got very wide shoulders and very short spindly arms and very short, sort of bulky legs. The very flat, sort of chunky torso, and quite a big beefy backpack. I do like how the polar bear head sort of collapses in to become a backpack, and then the sides of the belly sort of surround the head and create this big chunky backpack. And I like the shapes of his legs as well. He's got very sort of chicken leg, almost reverse chicken legs, but the 1x1 teeth panels and tiles do look very cool as big, like, stabby feet. It's got very sort of wide, chunky, like, you know, curvy arms. And I like to think of him as sort of like an old, sort of grudging warrior. Like, he's sort of like an older version of Ironhide almost. He's very old, very like a worn down soldier who has a lot of aggression within him. He's obviously got the nice green stud there for his eye, much like with all the others, and I think he looks pretty cool, to say the least. Articulation, his head's all on studs, so it can just rotate. His head can look up and down. Well, up. It can rotate backwards slightly, but not really down. His arms can go forward and backwards here. They can do this sort of inward movement on these hinge bricks, but then also move outwards here at these clips. They also have the rotation to go up and down at the clips here. He's got a waist rotation, an ab crunch. The legs can actually pivot in and out. They can move forward and backwards. They can swing outwards here, I guess, at the hip. This is meant to be like his knees, so he doesn't have any knee articulation, I'm afraid, and he has no feet rotation as well. But I still think he looks pretty cool. Now, we did set these pieces off to the side, which do just plug right back here, which you can just leave flipped forward. But in order to get a good transformation, it's easier to take these off. And he was originally the only one of the 4 characters of the Beastial group that I'm making who didn't have any weapons. So I just created these. These sort of created like armor. But what you can do is you can take them and you can plug them into his hands. I believe the way you do it is, yeah, you take the fins here, or the claws, you rotate these around, just like so, and you take one, plug it into one arm, so he has almost like a Wolverine type claw weapon on each arm, just like that, and just like that. And it looks like he has like very big gloves or claw hands, which I think is cool. I also like to think that these cylinders here, while they don't really serve any purpose other than just sitting these weapons slightly back a bit more, so that these actually rest around the legs of the polar bear better in his polar bear mode. I like to think that he also raises them up and he could use them to like shoot snowballs at people, which I think is just kind of funny. But he has obviously those claw weapons as well, which I think is pretty unique. Pretty cool. For a quick size comparison, here he is just with a Lego minifigure. I think scale sort of works right there. And he is the fourth and final member of this group, and I think he looks really cool alongside his allies. So here he is with all of them put together. And finally, there's Tyrannicus to command them all. And I think these four characters look really cool together as a squad. They all have their own melee weapons, a short sword, a very slim looking normal sort of shaped sword, a jagged sword, and then two claw weapons and whatever. And I think these three look really cool together because they sort of share a very similar sort of style of robot mode. They all basically have very sort of thin legs. He is the odd exception. Ursidaeus is the only one who's a bit who's shorter and a bit like chunkier. But I sort of like that dynamic. I think if all four of these were too similar, I think it would be kind of a bit boring. But I do like how these four look together. They look exceptionally interesting as a team. And of course, let's make one final return of the relic that powered them all, that gave them the ability to turn into majestic beasts. The reconfiguration helix. And this is the one weapon, the one item that they are trying to defend its power from the Autobots and the Decepticons from using it against each other in the fight for Cybertron. Anyway, that's about it from me, guys. This is the group of the Beastial Lego Transformers. I have no plans to make any more Beast Lego Transformers, but I'm obviously open to suggestions. So if you guys have any ideas, please leave them in the comments below, and I shall see about doing some more maybe in the future. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.